and welcome to Entertainment Weekly's What to Watch, the show where EW staff help you solve your viewing dilemmas. I'm your host, Gerrad Hall, and owning property in the boxes all around me here are correspondent Ruth Kinane, editor-at-large James Hibberd, and critic-at-large Leah Greenblatt. Hello to all of you. Since we are on the topic of property, the third season of Netflix's Selling Sunset just dropped, and we couldn't be more excited to check back in with our friends at the Oppenheim Group, literally right up the street from me here. The real estate brokerage firm has not shied away from selling us wealth, beauty, and of course, drama. So Ruth, after the first two seasons, does Selling Sunset still deserve our appraisal?
Nice. Yeah, I think so. I actually think this season is the best of the three so far. Mm-hmm. The drama really picks up and it's a little bit less petty than it's been previously. There's some real terrible things going on in their personal lives, which we'll get to. And yeah, it's just fun. It's glamorous. The houses are beautiful to see inside, especially when you're living in quarantine and sick of your apartment. It's nice to see how other people get to live. Like if you were quarantined in one of those houses, you really would not care. So
one of the storylines this season, season 3, Chriselle Staus, one of the stars of the show, and her now soon-to-be ex-husband, This Is Us actor Justin Hartley, she finds out that he wants a divorce by text. It's all heartbreaking and dramatic, and there are lots of questions. Do you think this is going to draw in more viewers this season?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think for sure, just because he's a big name already, people know about him that maybe don't even know much about her. And also, there wasn't a lot of information about their divorce out there in the press, so people that just want to be nosy about that will tune in as well, I think. And it's also, I don't know, I cried. I didn't expect to, but I was like, I felt really bad for her, and she's kind of very real on camera about it. She's not like overly dramatic or like bitchy about him. She just is kind of like, what? She seems very genuinely blindsided, and it's kind of hard to watch, actually. I really felt for her. Yeah,
very hard. There's a lot of stuff there to unpack, and I think we'll definitely see people talking about this moment on social media, and especially some of the other women's reaction to it. That is crazy, insane.
That final scene.
Oh, right? That last episode.
I know.
Yeah.
We both know who we're annoyed at.
Yeah, we were texting each other. What the heck? Anyway, moving on. I am certainly not in a pickle about whether I should watch An American Pickle. The film is an adaptation of Simon Rich's short story about a Polish immigrant who falls into a barrel of pickles 100 years ago. My big question, dill or bread and butter? Anyway, he's preserved in the brine until present day, where he meets his great-grandson. And Seth Rogen plays both characters. Leah, will An American Pickle be a barrel of laughs?
Gerrad.
Sorry.
Okay, I'll let you have one. You get one. There you go.
He had like 3.
And luckily, I'm all out of brine puns.
Yeah.
No, it is, okay, so it was supposed to be a theatrical release, like many movies. But it is now going to be on HBO Max on August 6th.
Yes, it is out. Yeah.
It is a funny movie, but it is actually kind of a tender movie. It's a little bit, not quite a dramedy. It's a comedy. But yeah, it's basically about a guy who loves his wife, loses his wife. Isn't maybe too sad to fall into a vat of pickles because he's a sad widower, but wakes up in Brooklyn in approximately 2020 to find that he is the same dude that he was 100 years ago. Just smells like dill, I guess, and garlic.
Yeah.
And that his only living relative is his grandson, Ben, who was also played by Seth Rogen.
So how does Seth Rogen work as a co-star to Seth Rogen?
He's real bitchy. He takes all the trailer space. He eats everything in catering. No, they're actually, I did ask him about this because we spoke on the phone about the movie, and he told me that in a table read initially, he did have another actor playing his own great-grandson, and they went back and forth. This took about 7 or 8 years to make. He basically said his grandpa was a World War II veteran, a football player. He could tear an apple in half, and then you would see his his grandson with these soft, sad hands, and probably want to beat him up and toughen him up. So that is sort of the odd couple story of this movie.
Oh, well,
is the guy who's lived through every old world hardship, and the guy who has an app to get his socks laundered on his phone.
Yeah, exactly. And it's worth noting this is a movie that was supposed to be in theaters, now on HBO Max. Do you think people will have they'll have to subscribe, of course, to see it. Do you think they're going to?
Listen, it's not Tenet. It's okay if you see it on a small screen. And this was intended to go through a classic Sony, platform release where they were going to have it in theaters and then go to VOD. And he said that once they sort of wrapped their heads around the idea that that was not possible anymore, they kind of embraced the HBO thing. And this is kind of the definition of like a cozy night in sort of movie. It doesn't, not to say it doesn't look good, but it doesn't have the epic scope where you need a big theatrical experience, though it might actually be kind of fun to see at a drive-in. And in fact, I saw Superbad the other week at a drive-in, if you want to be on the Seth Rogen theme, and really enjoyed it and did not realize how insane that movie reads 13 years later.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And in fact, Seth Rogen said that. He's like, there's basically everything we ever did would need a 2020 redo, but we're going to let it lie and stand and show who we were and what we thought in that moment in time.
So true. Interesting to see how everyone's evolved.
But he's like, don't worry, we are ashamed. We know we should be.
I'm fixating on that tear an apple in half comment because I'm thinking, could I break a cucumber in half? I'm pretty sure I could do celery, but I don't think I could even do a cucumber, let alone an apple.
I can bring hell to a soft banana or maybe like an apricot. I don't know.
Sounds like a great movie to maybe order some fried pickles from your favorite local restaurant and enjoy while taking in this movie. And we have to take a break because we need to practice ripping up fruit. But when we get back, we're going to boldly go where no Star Trek show has gone before, so don't you go anywhere. In the past few years, CBS has expanded the, universe of the Star Trek franchise on its all-access platform. We've had flagship show Discovery, the Patrick Stewart starring Picard, and the upcoming Strange New Worlds, which should hopefully be beaming down to our TVs by the end of 2021. But while new live-action Trek shows are popping up faster than a tribe of tribbles, there's also reason for fans of animated Star Trek to be excited, as this week marks the premiere of Lower Decks, a more irreverent take on some of the Federation's more unsung heroes. So, James, how does this new series factor into the rest of the franchise?
Well, it takes place during the timeline of Star Trek: The Next Generation, which, of course, is the fan favorite syndicated 1990s show. And right now, it doesn't have a direct tie-in to the other CBS All Access shows. But given its time period and given some of the hints that the showrunner has given in interviews, I think it's pretty safe to expect that some fan favorite characters will be coming back, and we will probably have certain actors from the franchise's past doing voice cameos in the near future.
That sounds like a nice treat for fans. CBS has really embraced Star Trek here on especially All Access, but do you feel like there's an end in sight, or are these shows doing that well that they'll just keep going, or will Star Trek assimilate the whole network like the Borg?
I mean, I think what the CBS All Access did was actually really smart, because they were smart to focus on a lucrative brand that had such a passionate fan base. One of the struggles that we were seeing this last year with Quibi and Apple TV Plus is they launched without a must-have show targeting people who are willing to pay extra for a franchise they already love, whereas Disney Plus and with The Mandalorian and CBS with Star Trek kind of smartly used a big sci-fi asset to bring people in. So yes, they are going big on it, and they should go big on it. But sure, there is also a limit to how many Star Trek shows can be on at one time.
Makes complete sense. Okay, I'm going to put Ruth and Leah, you on the spot here. Is there a favorite Star Trek show or movie that comes to mind of yours?
The only one I've ever watched is the one from the 90s that I would just randomly see on television growing up. I can't say I'm a fan.
Isn't there one where Spock speaks to the whales?
Yes.
Wasn't that a movie?
Yes, Star Trek 4 is the somewhat comedic whale one. Yeah. that takes place in San
comedy.
Francisco.
I tied it all in.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, the flagship effort still remains Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. It's probably the one movie that even if you're not really a Star Trek fan, you can sort of dive in and have a great time with. That one I recently rewatched Wrath of Khan. That one still holds up.
That is a great movie.
Is that Ricardo Montalban, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Just chewing scenery. You know, him and William Shatner just having an ego off the entire time.
Classic characters, classic actors right there too. Well, we have reached the final frontier of our show. I'd like to thank my fellow voyagers of the Starship What to Watch, Ruth, Kinane, James, Hibberd, and Leah Greenblatt. Our 11-minute mission to explore strange new shows, seek out new networks and new recommendations has been a success, and now we must boldly go back to work. Until next week, this has been Gerrad Hall. Live long and prosper.